Appreciate everybody being here. Yeah, it's that time of week. It's game week. We're really excited. Uh, Finishing up camp, had a mock week, first week of school, going through all the transition of how we practice during the season, transitioning 49 new kids in our roster. It's exciting time of year. It's what we work for all year long. It's why the kids came to CSU is to get the season started. So we're excited to be here. Really excited to open the season in Canvas against a good quality opponent in Washington State. Just really excited to see our students here, our fans in this community, to see and support this 2023 football team. Obviously, we're playing Washington State. You know, it's very interesting. We're playing several similar opponents that we played a year ago. And I think this is really a great game for us to start. We played this football team a year ago. We really couldn't have played any worse than we did a year ago, especially in the first quarter, in the first half. We gave them 3 touchdowns defensively. We didn't move the ball offensively. We covered some of those areas today. We've reviewed the game several times and are pretty tired of watching it, honestly. So we're excited. We think we've addressed a lot of issues with this roster. We are starting a brand new season with a new group of kids, and we're excited to establish our style of football. And so this will be a great week to do it. This football team from Washington State is very, very similar to us in a lot of ways. They're an air raid team offensively. They play the same 4-2-5 defensive structure that we play. So in many ways, it's like looking in the mirror when we watch them. And so we're very familiar with their offensive schemes. Defensively, same family that Coach Banks is from. So we've gotten a lot of reps throughout camp at what we're going to see in this game. And I think that's really helpful for our first game, just the familiarity of our kids with these schemes. And so we've been able to work with each other offensively and defensively to help prepare for this game. Been a long time coming. To be honest, we're excited to play season. We're very disappointed about how we played last year, and we finally get to do something about it.
What have you seen develop on your football team since, like you mentioned, the 47 new players? Well, what's developed since spring over fall camp that gives all of you so much optimism as you head into this season?
I think we got esprit de corps. I think we have a identity that we're trying to play, of the kind of football we're trying to play. And I don't think we've seen it yet from this program since we've been here. We haven't seen the style of defense or offense that we want to play, or special teams. And I think we have more kids that reflect the personality that we like as a program. I'm a football coach. I came here to coach football. We want football players that came here to play football for CSU. And there's a certain style, aggressiveness, physical mentality, and no nonsense that we're looking for. We haven't had that yet. We haven't lined up for one game with that as a team at CSU. And so we're excited to play that way. We're excited about getting an opportunity to start this 2023 season. And we're excited to show the people that come the type of team we have. And, and I want to say this. Our people, when we come to the game, they're part of the game. Our fans, our students, they're part of the game. They have a direct influence on how we play and the energy we play with. And so I just encourage our fans to come and get involved. They're playing too this weekend. And so it's all part of the atmosphere we want to have in Canvas.
When you look at your 6 captains that were elected by your players, all of them had been here for a while, with the exception of one, Dallin Holker.
Yeah.
What is it about him? Did it surprise you at all that he was a captain, or did you kind of sense that that was taking place?
Not at all. Just a very unique guy. I think the level of maturity of our football team is very different. We had a lot of youth last year. We had a lot of guys that were going through these experiences for the first time. We knew that going in, and I was braced to deal with the growing pains that we had to go through. But we have, Dallon's really a reflection of a lot of the players that we brought in. A mature kid. He's married already. He's already been to an LDS mission in Chile. He was in Chile for 2 years on his own and had some amazing experiences. He's talking to the team about going to speak to families in a one-room house where 10 people live. It's a dirt floor, and they're so appreciative that they're there, that they're giving them all the food that they have. I mean, it's just a completely different maturity that he's experienced than a lot of the kids that we had to play with last year. We had to play with a lot of freshmen last year. We don't have to do that this year. And so it didn't surprise me at all that Dallon was voted captain. Amazing guy, and it just an ability. I like to watch guys in the locker room and at lunch and in between practice. He talks to everybody on the team. He communicates and interacts and has a relationship with everybody. And that's really unique for a new kid to come in and have that kind of impact. And so I think he gained respect immediately. He's a really good player. He's a tough kid, but he's a mature guy, and he's got great leadership skills, and I'm really excited to see him play this fall.
What kind of challenges does Washington State present to you offensively, and what are some of the keys to kind of minimizing what they can
Yeah,
do?
their defensive ends are really good players. I think they're the strength of the defense, and they're just sound. They just play very sound. They try not to get out of position. You're going to know where they're at most of the time, but they're not going to give up big plays by being out of position. And so we got to handle their pass rush. We didn't handle their pass rush very well last year. The minus yardage plays were a big part of the game. The rushing yardage was a big part of the game. We didn't rush the ball very well against them. I think we averaged 1.2 yards per rush. So that's not going to get it. You're not going to win any games doing that. And so those areas are really big. We got to win special teams. We didn't do that last year either. So, the basic building blocks and the keys to victory that we have to win, our kids understand that. And we got to do a much better job of handling the line of scrimmage this year than we did a year ago.
And Cam Ward, probably one of the best quarterbacks you'll play against all season. So what kind of problems can he cause, and what are the keys to containing him?
Yeah, he's a good quarterback. He's a guy that can move the pocket. He can scramble. He's got experience. And so, we got to do a good job containing him, keep him in the pocket. And then we got to get after him and make him uncomfortable. And, they got to come to canvas this year. And we want to make that hard on everybody that comes here.
What are you looking for Clay, a year on, with all the experience last year? What do you need to see him do?
I'm looking for Clay to compete and lead. He needs to lead our football team. We need to score. We need to score on about half of our possessions. And I think as you watch the games last weekend, the clock is making an impact on these games. You're going to get less opportunities. You're going to get less plays. You're going to probably get a less of a possession in the game. So you got to be efficient with the possessions that you have. And Clay's got to start fast, and the offense is going to follow Clay. Clay and the offensive line have got to lead the offense, and we got to do a good job. We got to start fast. We got to start fast in this game. We got to start fast in this season. And that's going to be really important that we can move the football and score points early.
I was going to ask about the clock. Seeing it live in some games this weekend seems like it's going to have a pretty significant impact.
I think there's a real difference in the third and fourth quarter. I really do. I was almost uncomfortable watching the games because the clock just doesn't stop. You know, kids run out of bounds, it doesn't stop. They get a first down, it doesn't stop until you get inside 2 minutes. And so I think I was watching the Ohio U game, and I was just watching them offensively, and they were behind in the game, and the guy runs out of bounds, the clock keeps running, and you just have to have a sense of urgency to use that time effectively. And if you don't, you know, the game can get away from you pretty quickly. You know, I think the possessions are really important. You're not going to get the number of possessions that you used to get, and you got to take advantage of that. I think scoring early is really important, and being efficient is really important. So it's something definitely to be mindful of. We're studying the games from last weekend. You know, we're getting information about all of them, the number of plays, number of possessions. I don't know if the time of the games was impacted that significantly. I think only about 4 or 5 minutes. But the number of plays were cut down.
So you talk a lot about offense. Is this a game that you kind of expect to be a shootout and kind of whoever can push the ball down the field wins?
No, I don't think it's going to be a shootout, to be honest with you. I think it'll be a close-scoring game. I think a lot of our games are going to be close this year, and this one's probably included. You know, they're capable offenses on the field, but you know, our job is to manage and control them offensively with our defense, and then for us to be efficient and score points. And you know, it's going to be important that our field goal kicker's effective. That was another problem we had a year ago. You know, we didn't make our field goals. We didn't handle a net punt efficiently. And so we gotta really make an impact on special teams as well. But I think, you know, we've prepared our football team to play a lot of close games. You know, we worked the 2-minute drill a lot. We had a great one Saturday. We had a great one today. And I think Clay's feeling very comfortable in those situations. But I think we've got to be prepared to play a close game and to execute in the situations we need to win a close game.
So last year, Donovan Ollie had 12 yards per catch, and John Stribling had 17 yards per catch. How do you plan to kind of mitigate those big plays?
Yeah, I think our defense has worked hard at understanding what they want to do offensively. You know, they do a lot of similar things that we do. I feel confident in our coverage. I think we got some really good players. I think we're much improved from a year ago in our secondary. I really love Ron Harge and Dom Jones. Those guys have added a lot to Chiggy as cover guys back there. And Aiden Hector's a really good cover guy as a nickel. Washington State should know all about him. He came from there. So I like the way our guys cover. You know, we got the best safeties in our league, and we're much improved at corner. And we got a couple young guys that can really run, and so we're excited about that. So I'm confident that we match up well, and I think we'll match up well against anybody we play this year, as far as our guys being able to cover. So those will be important things, and you know, and our pass rush has a lot to do with that as well. We gotta get after the quarterback, and we gotta make him throw the ball quickly.
Jake, you talked about the number of new players you got. I think 19 of them on your depth chart. Do you feel much better about your depth now that you feel like you've taken care of that?
Yeah, I think our depth is much improved. You know, we got a lot of guys that have a lot to prove. I mean, a lot of guys have played at other schools. And let's face it, we got a lot to prove as a football team. I mean, we did not play the style of football we wanted to play last year. And that's a big part of what we're going through. You know, we got a lot of guys with a chip on their shoulder that want to prove that we're a serious football team that can be respected week in and week out. And so that's the challenge. We're excited about it, and we're looking forward to it. You know, we got several transfers, especially on offense. We got some key transfers on defense. We got a new field goal kicker that's a transfer. And so all those guys have been brought here to do a job. And now it's game week. It's time to do your job. So we're excited to see them do their work.
I think all eyes from the outside are on your offensive line and how it performs. It's kind of the same for you two You excited to see how this group meshes?
Yeah, I think when you look at the game from a year ago, this game, I think that was graphic that we did not win the game in the trenches. And I think all of our games are going to be won and lost in the trenches. When you come in our meeting room and I talk to the team, I got the offensive line sitting to my left, I got the defensive line sitting to my right, and I look at them every day. And they have to win the games for us. They'll set the tempo. When you rush the ball for 1.2 yards and you give up as many minus yardage plays as we did a year ago, it's not good enough. You can't beat anybody. We can beat Pooter High School with that, okay? So we got to do a better job of handling the offensive line, okay? And so, and our defensive line, and that's where the game has started. It's not magic. There's no pixie dust. It's good physical football, and we have to do a better job in those areas, and that's been the key. Our first meeting, I drew those keys to victory out for our kids, and that's where our focus is. That's how they've been trained. That's how we practiced every day in training camp.
Newer is a guy that has kind of cemented, kind of his chance. What have you seen in his growth over the last year to be ready for this opportunity?
Newer's an amazing kid. He couldn't play. He wasn't eligible to play a year ago, or he would have played. He's so dynamic as a pass rusher, but I think his best quality is just his attitude and the way that he works. He's relentless and nonstop. He's long-armed and really tough to block as an edge blocker. We have several defensive ends that are really capable players, and he's kind of risen to the top of those guys with him and Mo Camara. And you got a guy like Tony Pierce, who's a quality starter from North Dakota State that can come in and pass rush. And we just have a lot of guys, McKenday, we got a lot of guys that fit that role. And so, the challenge for our guys is just to go out and play as hard as you can. And we are fortunate that we have guys that can come in for them and play at a high level, and we didn't necessarily have that a year ago. And so I think that's the biggest difference, is that we're deeper at more positions. We have more players that are capable of playing, and we'll be able to play with more energy at a higher level more of the time.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.